Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Horizon with Derek Yale. You're watching the Liberia Radio and Television Network. And as always, we encourage you to continue to follow the network on Facebook and on YouTube. And you can engage the program by leaving us your feedback and your comments in the comment sections. And also, you can give us your opinion on the topics being discussed. Today is episode 8 of the Horizon. Here, of course, you know our slogan: no fluff, no gimmick, just real talk on the Horizon. It has been a very interesting week in Liberia. A lot of different things has been happening in the political space, and of course, the rice crisis is the biggest news in Liberia. So today on the Horizon, we have a very interesting and intriguing conversations, and of course, we have our guest tonight. We have the senator from Grand Kru County, Senator Bartekwa, with us, joining us as a guest panelist. But our lightning round today, we will be doing an exclusive interview with the senator to ask him questions that we have and questions from our panelists as well. Speaking of our panelists, let me put our panelists on the screen and also our guest, Mr. Senator Bartekwa. It's an honor to have you on the horizon.
Thank
Senator
you.
Bartekwa, welcome to the horizon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And guys, Blue Day Choppy Charlie, Ja Winkin Weir, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, and Bishop Hager. Again, let me say welcome, and welcome to all of you for yet another episode on the horizon. Beginning with you, Blue Day Choppy Charlie. Welcome.
Good. Always good to be here, and pleasant to have our senator here with us.
Bishop Hager, welcome back to the horizon.
Thank you
Welcome to
very
another
much. Thank you.
episode.
I'm very excited. Thank you, Mr. Senator, Honorable Senator, for coming to be and giving information to our people. We are very blessed to have you tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ja Winkin Weir. Welcome to another episode of the horizon.
Okay, thank you. This has provided an opportunity for my former instructor in the seminary now to serve on the same panel. Thank you very much.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
Professor.
Thank you.
Bobby Mitchell Crawford, welcome to another episode of the
Well, thank,
horizon.
thank you, Derek. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be on a hard zone. And welcome back, Choppy Chatted. But a big thank you to the Honorable for honoring our invitation to be here today. Thank you so much. And my brother, Jawinkin Weir, you've been rocking with us from day one. Good to see you. I'm back from Philadelphia, though. I'm in Texas, the beautiful state of Texas.
Okay.
So I look forward to today's discussion.
Thank you very much, Bobby Michelle Crawford, and those of you watching us on the
Yeah,
episode.
before you go further,
Go ahead.
you are preparing to ask me questions. Let me be the first. Why do you call this Hazu?
The short answer will be you will find out later on in the show. But you'll find out what we call this show the horizon later on in the show.
It,
So when
it, it's it to frighten the guest panelists.
well, we can't say how the guest should feel, but it's the horizon because it's the horizon. That's all I can say right now.
Thank
We
you,
have
sir.
yeah. We keep it real nice, but it's going to get critical. It's
Thank
going
you.
to.
Thank you.
But like
Thank
I
you.
said in the back, we always keep it respectful. This
Thank
is
you.
this is a platform where we aim to educate, not to bring down or disrespect anyone. But again, thank you so much for honoring the invitation to be here. And to our audience, episode 8 of the Hard Zone, we have a lot of good things to discuss. So I know we all know about no rice in Liberia. So we will discuss that tonight, and we will also be talking about President. We are replacing the sanctioned Nathaniel McGill, and also we'll talk about the seizure of cocaine in Liberia. But before we get into that, into those topics, we also like to we'll highlight some happenings in Liberia during the past week. As you may know, when you're watching this show, the U.S. Ambassador at Large for Global Criminal Justice, Beth Van Schaik, is scheduled to visit Liberia on Thursday. And also, CPP Standard Bearer Ellis Cummins announces Team Cummins 2022. You can go check out that list on who is on Team Cummins. But for the day, Hard Zone, the lightning round, we will do an exclusive interview with Senator Bartekwa. Senator Bartekwa, let me open up the question and just just to ease you off, Senator Bartekwa, talk to us about Senator Bartekwa. Who are you? I know you're Senator of Grand Kru County, but introduce yourself to our audience.
I've just partially indicated to you, Senator Bartekwa, Numene Bartekwa, hailed from one of the traditional communities in Grand Kru called Bakleve, and there where I started my primary education. I went to Pliwo, that Mr. Weah talked about, and I attended the St. Francis High School. After my graduation, I went to ZRTTI. From there, I went to the William V.S. Turner Teachers College. From there, I went to the Education Graduate Program where I got my first master. Then I went to the Ibrahim Babangida School of International Relations where I have my second master's in international relations. And I serve, besides the other assistant minister positions in Ministry of Agriculture, Post and Telecom, but the lifeline political journey really mainly started when I was elected by the people of Grand Kru District 2 to serve as representative from 2011. Then 2017, I went to election again and I was defeated by Councillor J. Funati Kufa. Then 2020, I contested again where I won and came back now as Senator of the County of Grand Kru. After taking over as Senator, again, as I said, I serve as several committees, but I chair the Committee on Construction and Investment. I'm on the Judiciary Committee. I'm on the Post and Telecommunications Committee. I'm on the Waste, Means, Finance, and several other committees.
Thank you very much, Senator. And this is how this is going to work. We're going to go around while our panelists are going to ask you questions. Mr. Jawingin Weah, give us, you can ask the senator your question, and while we wait Lord Choppy Charlie.
Don't be afraid. Ask your professional question.
Okay, Senator. Like, my question would be like, in Liberia, rice is our staple food, and we also know as well that to be self-sufficient, we have to be able to produce the food that we eat, which is true to many countries that are feeding themselves. So my question is, what are you guys doing in the Senate that will allow Liberians to grow their own food aside from the subsistence farming that we engage in currently in Liberia? Because we experienced during the war.
Actually,
go ahead.
Yeah, so we experienced during the war that for every little thing, we are people demonstrating Liberia. So definitely, what are you guys doing so that Liberia can produce the staple food?
Yes. Actually, rice is a political commodity, like a few essential commodities. So every government is aware how critical the issue of rice is. You are also Liberians, you are aware the problem that we are facing. Liberians, the method of producing rice is only subsistence. A farmer will just pick up his cutlass just for his family and produce rice. And substantially, from the beginning of our country, we've been depending on importation. This problem is an old age problem in our country. You know about the rice riot, and many attempts of people getting in the street just for rice business. The nature of the issue of rice. That is why just recently, when the budget was being restated, we, the legislature, not only the Senate, appropriated 11 million to subsidize rice. But because importers are aware of the critical nature of rice, so they always like to politicize the importation. At some point in time, when they make a demand, if they know that government is talking about that recently, I think some part of last year, they called for increment in the price of rice. We talked to them, look, if you increase the price of rice, again, our people will get upset. So what not, we keep the rice price still is. That's why we came up with that decision to subsidize it. Again, they are demanding, even at that, they are still demanding increment in the price of rice. So unless we really begin to produce our own consumption, our own locally produce our own rice, the issue of rice will always be, government will always be confronted with it. So it's not something that is strange, it's something that is with every government that comes to power in the country. Any was confronted with it, past government was confronted with it, and we are confronted with it. Fortunately, we are gradually solving it, so it's coming under control.
So, is there any plan for the production of rice? Like, let's say, for example, in the United States, even though I know Liberia, we don't have money, but
let me respond to that question. You know, our government's thinking about rice production is something that should be a private-oriented exercise, private-oriented something. Investors are being attracted, are being encouraged to come to Liberia. We have land, vast, rich land in Liberia, but to convince investors to come to produce rice, we have not succeeded in that. And what is indicated to us now is that instead of just looking up to investors, either we got to do it through, maybe to encourage the investor to a PPP process, private-public partnership process, so that investors can be encouraged to come and produce rice. But this rice issue is very critical, and even if we can go into the process that was being during Talbot's time, where they had the BCADP, the NCADP, maybe we need to engage it. So we are strategizing, even while I'm here, we are in constructive engagement to see a lasting solution that will be derived from it. But the rights issue is something that's confronting every government. It's not something that is unique to this government.
Thank you very much, Senator. Let's go back to Bloated Choppy Charlie. Give us the question to the Senator.
Okay, yes. So, again, Mr. Senator, I want to say thanks for coming on the show. I'm hearing you say that the production of rice, agriculture has to be a process or venture of private enterprise. But then, how do we square this reality that government is subsidizing private businesses when it comes to importation of rice, but then when it comes to investing with local farmers, then we say the private enterprise should do that? Why the money that government is taking to subsidize businesses, we cannot take that same money to invest it in our local farmers? Because we have people that are producing rice in Liberia currently. Why don't we invest in those people?
But that is what it's not the money that, look, let me tell you, agriculture is one of the sector that's taking a huge component of our budget. It's not that the government is not investing in local farmers, but those local farmers are still not sufficient to sustain the market. That is what causing the problem. We got a lot of local investors that are engaging, but these are Liberians that don't have much capacity. So even the money that the Minister of Agriculture, through the Minister of Agriculture, that has been given to them, my dear, is still not succeeding. And that is why we have to go back on the drawing board to see what strategy to really adapt that can provide a lasting solution to this problem. We have cooperatives that are producing rice. We got a lot of institutions that are producing rice, but this production that is done locally is not sufficient to support the market. That's what causes the problem.
Thank you very much, Senator. Before I move on to Bloje Chopi and not Bloje, but Bobby Mitchell Crawford for his question, I would like to draw your attention away from the rice crisis or the rice or conversation and ask you two questions. One, it has become a norm in Liberia for not just senators but lawmakers to go back to their constituents and offer humanitarian services instead of doing their primary duty to pass legislations, to approve presidential appointees, and also to provide oversight. You as a senator, what do you think about that? And my second question is in regards to your statement. You say you are sedition, and I would like for you to tell the Horizon audience, how do you think President Weah has performed as president for his first tenure, and do you think he's deserving of the Liberian people's support for re-elections?
The first question is, why, instead of really focusing on our responsibility of oversight, representation, and lawmaking, and we are providing maybe like a welfare service to people that in our constituencies? My dear, that is a problem that no lawmaker alone, lawmaker can provide solution to, because you will not invite the people to come to your house. Before you go low very early in the morning, before you wake up, you see about 10, 15, 20% line of my wife is in the hospital, my child is supposed to go to school, my zinc, my house is leaking, somebody died, my child is supposed to, all barrage of problems you will be confronted with them. As soon as you shun those people, it's a serious problem for you. So it's a situation that is beyond the control of the lawmakers. It's not a creation or making of the lawmakers. It's something that is imposed on them. They themselves are contending with it, had it, don't have any means to get out of it. So it's an imposition that we have no control over. If you talk about the President Weah, you know, the reason for which the people who prepared the Constitution decided to give a president 2 terms is for one major reason. I just told you, if I enter the legislature and depend on only because I have 2 masters without studying the legislature, I'll be wasting my time. I will have to take time, maybe the first 1 or 2 years, before really know how to get along, how to see how I can deal with the issues that I will be confronted with in terms of lawmaking, in terms of providing effective oversight, in terms of providing representation. So if I acquire that knowledge after the 2 years, and then maybe the 3rd, 4th years, representative serve only 6 years. When in the 3rd year, and maybe my constituency come out say no, and my constituent come out say no, that man, let him move from there. that knowledge I acquired at the time I was acquiring my experience will be wasted. So the remaining 3 years will really be serving as an asset for the people that I'm representing. It's the same thing with the presidency. When George Weah came to power, George Weah completely was robbed. George Weah needed an experience. He needed knowledge. He needed how to learn government. He's gone through it, through his first term, the second time, all of the things that people, George Weah is engaging in this, or George Weah is engaging in this, or George Weah, all of these things. Are you still hearing them? It's now time he's focusing on how to address the problems of the country.
Mr. Senator Bartekwa.
At that
Senator
time,
Bartekwa,
yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. But can you answer? I understand the point you're making, but how do you think the president has done since he became president? I understand, but to your point though, I would like to disagree with you. I don't think we should.
You don't have to agree with me, my dear.
I understand. I don't think we should encourage. We should encourage the idea of public official learning on the job, because the risk of that is while you're learning, your constituents are being deprived of things that you. Let me, Senator. Let me ask the question. We should encourage public officials to learn on the job, because you should know the job. That matter of fact, that's why a campaign should be built upon. But I would really like for you to answer the question: how do you think President Weah has done? Do you think he has done good, poor, or failure? I'll let for you to answer that question, and we'll move on to
President Weah has done extremely well, and he is indeed qualified for a second term. He should be given the time to continue the good work that he has started, that he's carrying on. We are currently addressing the major challenge of our country, which is the roads network. President Weah is focusing on it. We should give him the time. The educational system, President Weah is addressing the improvement of the educational system. He should be given the time. We talk about the health services. Our counties that didn't have much health facilities currently have all of the districts having health services being delivered. Yes, the challenge is there. Our country is a country that has limited budget, so the problems are huge. So when you are addressing that, people may think that you're not doing well. But indeed, with the limited resources at the disposal of the government, Premier is going very well. He should be given a second term.
Thank you very much, Senator. Let's go to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Ask the senator your question.
Welcome, Honorable Bartekwa, to the House Room again. My name is Bobby Mitchell Crawford. I'm the law mayor of the great city of Bentoy. I've been sitting here listening to you, but I just
in the United States or in Liberia?
In Liberia. It's just a honorable title I gave myself.
That's a clean title.
Yeah, but that's another thing for another day. But here's my question, though. I want to pivot a little bit.
Okay.
You serve as chairperson on investment and construction, right?
Yes.
So you will agree with me that the National Investment Commission, which was created by an act of the National Legislature in 1979,
yes,
falls within your statutory jurisdiction.
It's under my oversight responsibility.
Yeah, to provide oversight.
Yeah.
I think last week I mentioned this when the president traveled to the United Nations. Absent from that group was the chairperson of the National Investment Commission. And besides that, in February of this year, the chairperson of that commission was involved in corruption. The case is still being investigated. Then my question to you is, when was the last time that you provided hearing, especially given this new development, that the chairperson of that commission has been involved in corruption, impropriety? That's number one question. And the second component to that question has to do with, when was the last time you actually conducted a hearing to see that SAG Commission is performing its statutory obligation as far as attracting foreign investment in the country?
First of all, this is my first time hearing that Mr. Gray was involved in corruption. You have to be very specific. What is the issue of corruption he was involved in? And unless I'm giving the details, I cannot conduct hearing. This is my first time hearing that Mr. Gray was involved in corruption. So you have to really explain what was the corruption act that he corrupt act that he's committed, that you know of, that I'm not aware of. So if I get to know it, then of course I can act in my capacity as chair on construction investment and see whether he's qualified to be invited for a hearing. Now, if you talk about hearing, my committee regularly conduct hearings on investment that come before me, and not only coming before me if there is an act of misbehaving to either the employees or the program that they had that was contained in their proposal for which we gave them the concession. If they are doing anything contrary to that, we invite them and conduct hearing. So there are several hearings that we've conducted in that premises. And unless you are specific which of the hearing that you would love to see, that you would love us to have, that we did not have, except you are specific. But there are several hearings that we conducted.
Let me just follow up, Derek, if you don't mind me real quickly. The reason why I'm asking this question, Honorable Senator, because since the ascendancy of the WIA government, we have yet to see direct foreign investment into that country. And you serve as the chairperson on concession and investment. So then that begs the question. I know you haven't been in the Senate for a long time, but before then you ran as an independent candidate. Before then you were a member of the the movement of progressive change. And then I'm pleasantly surprised to see that, to say you are sedition, which is okay, but that's another question for another day. But back to the investment of the national investment. Liberia at this junction needs direct foreign investment. And this is a very important position that you hold within the Senate. So besides conducting hearing, right, I want to know, for the past year and a half, what has your committee done, to attract direct foreign investment in Liberia? What are some of the bilateral cooperation?
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. The responsibility I have, according to our governance system, it is not the responsibility of the legislature to go out there. Yes, you can do it. Like I'm here. If there are investors, I can encourage them to come. But statutorily, it is the executive that goes out and bring investors. And when they bring them, those investors are brought to us and screened to see. In fact, the program starts with the executive. All of the objectives they have, the plans they have, the area that is in logging, whether it's in mining, whether it's in fishery, whatever it is, that initial discussion is done with programs, and those programs are submitted to us by the RUSA. Then ourselves screen them, invite them, and see how logical those proposals are. Then if it was to be rectified, then we rectify it. And that's what we've been doing. And since I took over, there are several investors that have expressed their intention that came to the government, that the government has certified. You will not believe it. Honor my chairmanship ratification through the Senate. We have many factories in Magidi. The Jetty Corporation is setting out a factory that will produce all rubber materials that we are importing, even including tires. That factory going up. We talk about the marrow palm. All of the palm oil that the people are producing in the country that's supposed to be exported. We've told the farmers that you cannot indefinitely continue to export palm oil. So you have to build refinery in Liberia. They have come up with a proposal. That proposal was enacted and the factory is being built. Several factories. One is built in Maryland by CIPCAT and GVL. So all investors that are willing to come to Liberia, they will come. Those that are willing to invest in Liberia currently that are there, we're working with them and they are investing in Liberia and they are helping us to provide employment, to provide revenue, to provide services for our people. We are continuing to encourage people to come.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator Bartekwa. Now let's move on to Bishop Hagan for his question. Bishop Hagan, you have the senator attention.
Well, Senator, thank you very much for coming on here tonight. I will ask two important questions. The first one was concerning your desire to have $100 million included in our budget for road development. I was asking if, based on your closeness and being part of the CDC, whether that $100 million was allocated in our national budget. The second question I will ask is relating to, you had a motion recently based on what the Census Bureau supposed to be conducting a census in October, but then most of the senators decided that it should be done next year, March, but you were objecting to that because of some argument that you brought up. Many of your colleagues said the rainy season was not a due time to conduct the census, but you were arguing that elections are held in rainy season, so the census should be held in the rainy season. So looking at the closeness of the election and the census, do you think we are going to have a census this coming time before the election? And what is your take on that?
If I can start with the last one. The census proposal was brought to us. I am on the committee on autonomous agencies. And that committee provide oversight to Legis. Legis came to us and lay out their plans for the conduct of the census. The materials that they are to use had not been provided by Liberian government. They went to Ghana and took the materials from there, programmed them already specifically for that time, from October 24 to November 7, and programmed them based on the support of the international community, UNFPA, World Bank, UNDP, and these people are providing 80% of the money. And they have told us, we don't want the election time to end, the census time to be changed. If you change it, the money that we are putting there, will not put it there. The material that we took from Ghana, the Ghanaian government will take them back. All of the logistics we have repurchased, but then it will be on the expense of the government of Liberia. I was left with no alternative because of the inability of the government to provide even 40% of the census cost that is being billed that is being paid for by the international community. So we had to listen to them. And that is why I told my colleagues, I said, my people, if we cannot provide 40% of the cost of the conduct of the census, how can we tell these people that we should postpone it when they are asking us to have the census this time? Are we going to find money at that time? They all came, say, oh, Senator, we beg you. Let's postpone it. Let's wait for dry season. Let's wait for dry season. So we all decided, okay, let's wait for dry season. True to my words, the Ghanaian government told the Liberian government, if you postpone the census, we'll take all our materials. They told the Liberian government, if you postpone the census, we'll suspend our support to the census. The president came back to us and said, what Senator Bartekwa was saying, my people, we beg you, let's conduct the census this time so that we can be saved from the huge expenses that we'll not be able to take care of when the census is postponed. The legislature again came back, and that's why the legislature was called back and came to my words, and that is why the census is now planned to be conducted. Yes, already the recruitment for the enumerators have, I think, is in its final stages, and the process will be conducted from October 24 to November 7. If you talk about the road network, I am from the county that is facing this huge deficit of road development. Eternally in Grand Kru, we have tried our best. We got 8 districts. Of the 8, only 1 is remaining to fully be access big rivers, and that is anybody that is familiar with Grand Kru, that is Jaw. But all of the other districts are accessible by roads eternally. But come from Grand Kru to come out of Grand Kru through Sando to come to Monrovia is a huge challenge. Today, my superintendent talked to me because the vice president is taking a nationwide tour. And she asked me, she said, Senator, why you people don't please talk to the vice president, because it will be very difficult for her to reach the counties. She will stay days on the road. The bridges and all are all bad. So that is why I came up. We need to get huge amount of money, like 100 million. If we do 100 million in 5 years, you're talking about 500 million. That will help us to improve the road networks. Unless our roads are improved, our economy will continue to be stagnated. Unless our roads are improved, the social service delivery will be a challenge. How do you take educational materials? How do you take health delivery service materials? All of that, even the agriculture sector that we're talking about, is a serious challenge because of the road network. And that's why I made the request. Yes, the government of Liberia's budget is not exclusively financed by the government, by our own internal revenue alone. The international communities is helping us. Today, more than 100 million is being invested into the road process. The road are coming from Sacré-Pied and Ganta to Sacré-Pied is being paid. The one that coming from Sacré-Pied to Tapita, that one is signed. The contractors are starting. The one that coming from Tapita to Tostown in Grand Kru, that money is, yeah. Why don't you give me a chance? Let me outline.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. So that one is coming online from Fishtown. If you from Fishtown, the one that coming from Kanwike, that one is also being constructed. The one that coming from the one that going to Robertsport is being constructed. So all of these pieces of road, because I was not specifically speaking for Southeastern roads alone. I was talking about the road network throughout the country. And that is being done, far exceeding the amount of 100 million that I talk about.
Thank you very much, Mr. Senator. You listed most of the roads. Some of the roads, the concession agreement was already signed before the WIA government came.
That's not true. That's not true.
I can give you from Encyclopedia, the road concession was done. We can go back into it. But my question here, Honorable Senator, even with the present road construction, Liberians are saying that the roads are substandard, and there are a lot of money was taken
that's
from.
That's another argument you bring in, whether the roads are substandard.
Senator, let the Bishop ask a question.
So,
okay, go ahead.
The roads are substandard. The evidence are there. And even, I would just make reference to the Rabafi Highway. The report that money was allocated for that road, but it was misappropriated. Do you have any comment to make in that direction?
You know, those are the sweeping that people sometimes can come up with without really coming up with facts. The road that is being implemented from EAWA Junction to Rabafi is a pre-financed project. So how can money be appropriated? The only money that government pay towards that road is the RAP. The RAP is people that are along the road. Government has to provide money to pay for those, and it is from our budget. We pay the money. So how will money be appropriated when the road is a pre-financed project? And people went and misuse the money. Why will you come up with that accusation?
It was all in the newspaper. I'm not just
Senator Bartekwa. Bobby Mitchell Crawford has one more question, and after that we'll close out on this exclusive interview and move on to our next session on the show. Okay. Bobby Mitchell Crawford, go ahead with your question.
Yes, well, I'm going to go back to the pension bill. You remember the pension bill that drew a lot of backlash in the Senate? So in 2003, right, that was during Taylor time, that pension bill was ratified by the then National Legislature during Taylor time. And it specifically provides that if a lawmaker retires, they will get $4,000. And then as a consequence of that, right, the current government, including Salif time, they owe former lawmakers $9 million. In an attempt to rectify that wrong, the 54 legislature of which you are a member of, you decided, you say, you know what, that money too much. So we're going to reduce it to $800 monthly. Then here's my question. Every Liberian are part of the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation. It is the clearinghouse for all retirement package for all Liberians. Given the insane salaries of lawmakers, I'm not going to ask you how much you make, but it is a widely known fact in most quarters that lawmakers may owe $9,000 a month. I'm just throwing a figure out there. And most Liberians, including my dad, who worked 25 years, and he paid into the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation. To this day, he haven't received a dime in retirement. But lawmakers are passing law or rectifying law that is draconian in nature that will give themselves $400 or $800 a month if they retire. So I went and did my little research. Lo and behold, you affix your signature to that. It was soundly defeated in the House of Representatives. Now, how do you reconcile this? Do you think it is okay for lawmakers to have a separate retirement package and not to tap into the national retirement package that is sanctioned and has by law the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation? Why did you affix the signature to such a bill in the first place?
Thank you. Already, you have indicated that was enacted in 2003. Yeah. So, since that time, former lawmakers have been receiving money and currently still receiving money on it. The judiciary, they have a pension law for which they are receiving money. The president, the presidency, vice presidency, and all of these elected officials and judicial officials have the fragmented came up and said, look, instead of having these fragmented, where these people getting huge money, because even the judiciary, they are receiving the 4,000 that you're talking about. They are receiving it. Whenever they are pensioned, they are receiving the money. So let us consolidate all of these fragmented laws and make sure that the law is reduced and the amounts are reduced. In fact, put them, not just you enter legislature today, like for instance, then 2022, 2023, maybe he's out. Then he gets benefit. If you go 1/10, you will get this amount. If you go 2/10, you will get this amount, minimum. And put all the law together, including the presidency, including the judiciary, including the Senate, including the representative, everybody. The people went out there, the very law that it existed, they carry it out there and claimed that it was what the law was in existence. I don't know where they got their information from, where they got their calculation from. So you have to do your investigation again. And the Social Security you're talking about, laws are for specific things. The Social Security law is for civil servants. It's for civil servants. It's not elected presidency, former presidential officers. It's not for judiciary. It's for civil servants. So this group of government officials, former government officials that got their fragmented laws, consolidating it, putting it together, that is already in existence, that people receiving huge money off. No, let's consolidate it and break it down and make it uniformity. It's been misinterpreted out there, and you're talking about your power and your power. If your power was civil servant, you got to receive civil servants a benefit. If your power was a legislator, because it has nothing to do with even you say the people that in the House of Representatives defeated, they themselves later on regretted. They are best. They are unnecessarily. They don't say regretted it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, Derek, real quick. I just want to make a correction here. The Honorable Senator, the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation wasn't just designated for civil servant. Private employers is almost synonymous to what we have here, like your Social Security. So if you are you are employed by a private company.
If you have the law,
if you look on your paycheck,
the provision that consider lawmakers.
Senator,
quote the provision.
Bobby Mitchell,
Quote the provision that consider lawmakers, that consider judicial officers.
Senator,
quote that provision.
Senator, again, thank you so much for.
I think as we have a chance of follow up, I thought everybody had a chance of serving.
Loje.
Yeah.
I'll give you 30 seconds to ask a question.
We really need to sufficiently deal with this, because this is for Liberians.
Myself, I have questions.
Rushing a lot of questions that the Liberian people need answer to.
There was an allotted time for this interview. So if we go on the break, since the senator has availed himself to this interview, if we go on the break, we can discuss and see if we can put the interview to another category on the shows. But until we can discuss that, at this point, Senator, I'd like to thank you for responding to my panelists' questions. And before we close on this, though, let me ask you the last question. Last question, please. The way we run a democratic form of government in Liberia, and the way the system is designed, if every elected officials do their work, I think it works, but it works in everyone's favor. And I'm saying this to ask you a very direct question as far as the constituents of or the resident of Grand Kru County is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
When they go to elections, they hope to vote. They'll elect someone that will pass legislations that will bring good schools to them, good hospitals, and good safe drinking water, and you name it. Senator Bartekwa, since
Mm-hmm.
you became senator, or since you became an elected official, or let's keep it a senator, what bill have you written to address issues affecting the resident of Grand Kru County?
Since I became senator,
Mhm.
I represented the people of Grand Kru in discussing laws, like to say a bill now. My bills are still in preparatory stage, but
So you're still preparing bills.
I co-sponsor bills.
For example,
Yes, the presently the University of Liberia's charter. It is I who is
is that
asking for its amendment.
I'm sorry,
It
I'm sorry.
affects the people of Grand Kru because students of Grand Kru,
Is that
students are
specific
going
to the
there.
needs of the people that elected you? Is that bill
Students of Grand Kru are
specific to
going
the?
there.
No, I'm asking you a question. Is that bill specific to the needs of the people that elected you as a senator?
Exactly so, because the students of Grand Kru are at the university, so they need to be impacted by that law.
Okay. What percentage
Yes,
of Grand Kru students are at the University of Liberia?
huge,
A huge
huge
percentage.
percentage,
All right.
huge, very huge percentage.
Do you have another example? Another bill that you supported or
Yes,
sponsored?
I also co-sponsored the. There are several laws sponsor, but I don't want to come up with now to say this one, but there are several laws that are co-sponsored. So
I said that should be
I
your main.
haven't availed a law on the floor of the Senate currently since I went to the Senate to say this one is my sponsor bill. But there are several laws that I work on, especially as a judiciary committee member that we work on. So I don't want to claim that I've sponsored a bill that since I went to the Senate again, as I said, I have my pieces of information put it together to present on the floor of the Liberia Senate that I don't want to avail now.
Thank you.
Because they are in their preparatory stage.
We will not push you to do that. But thank you so much for answering the questions from the panelists on here tonight. And we hope that you will continue to work hard in the best interest of the residents of Grand Kru County, and of course, you serve our country. So we wish you all the best. And to those of you watching the Hard Zone, continue to engage the program, continue to leave us your comments and participate with the discussions. And if you have questions for the senator, leave it in the comment section. But for now, we'll draw the curtain on this exclusive interview with Senator Bartekwa. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we will talk about the rice crisis in Liberia. As of now, no rice in Liberia. It has been reported. When we come back, we will continue the conversation on that. Tonight, we have with us Senator Bartekwa. Let's take a very brief break, and when we get back, we'll give you more Hazon. My name is Derek Yale.
Hi, my name is Martha Tomley, owner of Matisia Natural Hair Salon, located on 4405 Chestnut Street. We are specializing in locks, natural hair, braids, and etc. Call us for all your natural hair needs. You can reach us at 267-703-2330. If you have pictures or videos you want to send us, you can send it to 267-224-0693.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the Hard Zone on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek, and this is episode 8 of your favorite talk show, the Hard Zone. And you know, on the Hard Zone, there's no gimmick, no fluff, just real talk. The first half of this episode was very involved, very engaging, And as you know, we have the Senator of Grand Kru County, Senator Bartekwa, here with us. And after this break, we will continue our interview with Senator Bartekwa. So let's go back to our panelist and the senator. So he will continue to answer our questions that are relative to Liberia and also and specific to the needs of the people of Grand Kru County. This is the Hard Zone. Senator Bartekwa, before I open another round of questioning to you, let me welcome Reverend Addy to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you kindly. It's my pleasure to be amongst such esteemed panelists, especially Honorable Senator from Grand Kru County. I want to say thank you, and it's a pleasure being here.
Thank you very much, Reverend Addy. And the senator, upon accepting our invitation, he says he's open to a wide range of questions. So our panelists can go ahead and ask the senator the question that they need answer to, and ones that are specific to Liberia and to the needs of the people of Grand Kru County. So let's begin this session with Mr. Jawinkin Weir. You have the senator attention.
I listened to you about the construction of roads and other development that you are undertaking or that you have or the government is initiating in Liberia. My question is here from my own experience here, like before any investment is done, the citizens that are benefiting from that investment are called into a meeting. I mean, in the West, on the American side. So I don't know, but because in Liberia, what we have done consistently is imposing on the people what we want to do without their input. So I wanted to know your party that campaign change, whether the people who are benefiting from the investment are involved into the planning process, how they will benefit from these kind of projects. What kind of benefit are they going to get in such as schools? So I wanted to know whether there is a decentralization process that people are involved before any investment like logging, gold, diamond, anything is done like that since you are chairman of concession.
Mr. Weir, process of certifying or rectifying an agreement is first whenever you come up with the plan of investing in Liberia. We will ask you which area. If you say, I'm going to X county, to this particular community, we will ask you to go to that community, discuss with them, let them accept that that investment should be, then you and the government will begin to discuss. It is at that time you and the National Investment Commission will go into the detailed discussion and develop the proposal. That proposal will be submitted to the legislature. We ourselves will also seek the approval of that community. In fact, the community is already represented by senators and are consulted and ensure that the community is fully involved and certified for that project to be implemented with them before it is ratified. Yes, so that's how it is. If you talk about, for instance, because you cited the roads issue, most of the counties, the communities, the major issues they have is road. So all of them, the roads that are being implemented with them are excited. They are very, very elated about them. They are involved. And that is why I told you, in fact, whenever a road is being implemented anywhere, the people that are along the road will have to be discussed with, and they as government will determine what will be the cost of their properties. And those properties are paid for before the roads is implemented. And so the people can be involved.
Thank you, Senator. Let's go to Bloody Choppy Charlie. You have questions for the senator. Bloody.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Senator, again, thanks for coming on the show. Mr. Senator, we will have to push you a little bit. We have to push you a little bit. I hope I'm audible. Because the question that we are discussing today is very critical. The question of rice and food security in the country. And I just want to give you a little background. Before 1822, when Liberia was founded, Liberia was called the Rice Coast. Part of Liberia was called the Rice Coast. And the reason that Liberia was called the Rice Coast or the Grain Coast, the grains, because Liberia were producing rice.
I know
people from Europe.
But you say Rice Coast?
Yes, there was Rice Coast and was also called Grain Coast. So anyone you can take that. But the reason is Liberia were producing food. If you look at the history, you will see people came from Europe, from all across the world. They went down there to that region for food. And at the time, we did not have machines. And even up to 1926, before Firestone came to Liberia, although there was subsistence farming, but people produced food, even up to the Tower years. So the query now we have in the country, and we are holding the legislature responsible because the first branch of government has the authority to raise money and to appropriate funding to the executive. The president is not just going to get money from somewhere. It has to come from the legislative branch. Why? We need to understand the World Food Program just updated a study for Liberia's strategic food plan.
Roger, what is the question?
Yeah, no, I'm laying the background. I have to lay sufficient background for the senator to understand. The World Food Program just updated a study for Liberia food security. It's updated in June 2020. That study says Liberia is a food deficit country. About 86% plus of Liberia live in real abject poverty. And Liberia is rich. The senator said that the local producer of Liberia, the food they are producing is insufficient. But the government is, and I come back to this question, the government is taking money to subsidize importers, people who are importing food into the country. Investors, these are, and the senator said that government cannot get involved into investing. We have to bring investors in the country to grow rice. If the government cannot,
that's what I said, my dear.
Roger, just ask a question instead of providing clarity.
I'm trying to expose the contradiction in the senator's statement, and also for him to be able to reconcile these contradictions. Because if the government is leaving the idea of rice production to the private sector, as he says, the private sector should do that, should bring investor. Why is the government helping the same private sector and giving millions of dollars to importer private businesses to bring food as opposed to investing in the local farmers? That money that you're giving to all these Lebanese businesses, and as a legislator, I'm blaming the legislature. Specifically, they are appropriating this money. I'm not blaming the president. Why is the legislator, why is you, Mr. Senator, as a senator of the country, why are you giving money to Lebanese businessmen to make profit from Liberian people as opposed to supporting a local farmer in Liberia to produce food?
Thank you. Senator Bartekwa.
I don't know. You say my statement is contradictory. Maybe you did not understand me. I have told you over and again that we have been supporting our local farmers through their cooperatives, through farmers that are engaged in rice production, but the quantity that they are producing cannot sustain the market, cannot serve the market, cannot satisfy the market. Mr. Bloye, your house, if you were in Lofa and farming, if your rice that you produce and that rice is not sufficient to sustain you for the whole year, you will let your family die.
So why can you add the money you are giving to the Lebanese businessman, Mr. Senator? Why don't you add that money to the farmer to increase his production? Why are you taking money and giving it to the Lebanese businessman as opposed to helping this farmer to increase his production? That's a question.
The farmers
why don't you increase the farmer for the local producer, Mr. Senator?
He got the question. Go ahead, Senator.
The farmers are not saying they don't have sufficient money to produce, but they're
Senator
because of their
Bartekwa,
own exposure,
Senator,
because of their own, Liberians.
No.
Because Liberians, most time we Liberians, one thing that we're missing out on, coming together to form huge group to make impact into whatever business we are doing. We want to do it independently, and that act of doing it independently had a yield any positive result, and that's why we are missing out on. And that's why we are saying all of us will go back on the drawing board and engage the farmers that own it. But equally so, we cannot leave the market vulnerable like that. Have to import, and you know that there is an OH problem. It's not because this government that came to power about 4 years ago. This problem of our own farmers not really having the capacity to sustain the market, to keep up the market, has been in existence for long, for which government always go out to ensure that food and rice is imported.
thank you.
So you cannot say my statement is contradictory. I'm saying because the market,
Excellent, Senator
the
Bartekwa.
producer of corn, they cannot sustain it. We can't go out there. We cannot leave the market vulnerable like that. We cannot leave Liberians starve just because our people cannot sustain the market. And you say it's wrong.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you.
Your relatives were not going to be buying rice.
Thank you, Senator. If you're watching us, continue to engage the program, participate in the comment section. You're watching an exclusive interview with Senator Bartekwa of Grand Kru County. Stay with us. Let's move to Reverend Addy. You have a question for the Senator Bartekwa. This is your turn.
Thank you very much. Honorable Senator, were you at one point in time chairman for Post and Telecommunication?
Correct.
Can you speak to us regarding efforts being made to have Liberia receive organized mailing system since your chairmanship?
Yes, the postal system is in existence. It's still effective. The only challenge that the postal system is currently fixing is the advanced communication network. Currently, you in United States are supposed to send your letters now. You sending your emails, you sending your WhatsApp messages, you sending your YouTube, you sending all that used to go through. So the volume has substantially reduced. It's not that the system is not working. The EMX, the regular mailing system, all are still there effectively working. Only users are engaging in other means of communications. That's what existed. During my chairmanship, there were, like Mr. Bloyer was talking about, government all over the world only regulates instead of engaging in production or service provision. That is why the telecommunication sector, that was a challenge. When we liberalize it, you see today now, anytime anybody pick up phone, they can call their relative just because it's entrusted to private people. And that's how government regulates. We only have the Liberia Telecommunication Authority effectively regulating the network. And that's how it is. That's how government operates.
Unfortunately, I was very specific, not to cut you off. I was very specific in terms of
they are not living up to the expectation of the government.
Senator Bartekwa.
Now, yeah.
I think Reverend Addy has a follow-up to his question.
Yes, I was very specific with respect to postal mail. So what I'm hearing from you is that I can write a letter from these United States and all of the houses in Liberia now have addresses based on a system that you've structured in place.
When you talk about houses, no, if you say the order of the houses, I don't want you to misquote me. Or if you send your mail, the people at the post office will receive the mail and deliver it to the owner of the mail. I'm not saying the address system has been set up in Liberia and working on. That has been a project that the Universal Postal Union and the government of Liberia have been working on. That system is being worked on. I'm not saying it's completed so you can deliver your mail from it.
Thank you, Senator. Let's move on to the Lord Mayor of Bentol, Bobby Major Crawford.
Yeah, thank you, Regina. I'm just a little conflicted how the postal service will receive the mail here from the United States, and then how will they deliver it to your address if they don't know your address. But that's another story. But here's my thing, though. And just on the rest issue, right? There are several constraints that are serving as impediment that is creating the food insecurity in Liberia, and we can give a historical perspective and all of that. But earlier, you said that the agriculture ministry is adequately funded. If that is the case, autonomous agency that was created I'm coming to the point. But Todbot, like the LPMC, BCADP, CARI, LCADP, they are lying dormant, for lack of a better term. They are not sufficiently funded. So if you want to address the issue of food security or food insecurity in Liberia, why is it that the government is not adequately funding those different institutions that are at least serving as a buffer to provide some kind of a food security for the Liberian people? Take, for example, CARI is a Central Agriculture Research Institute, right? I'm still coming, Reverend. They engage in agriculture research to help, implement new ways to do farming. They haven't received a dime in this budget that they just passed, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
Bobby, what's your question, Mr.
The
Crawford?
question is, if the government is serious about addressing food security, why they say that all these different agencies are just named? PMC, BCADP, LCADP, CARI are severely underfunded.
If you understand, you got the questions. Go ahead.
I got the question. The Lord Mayor, I don't know whether, if you are not aware, the LPMC was reclassified by this government called LACRA. It's at the port. That agency is there coordinating the shipment of agricultural materials from the field by farmers. So its existence is no longer LPMC. It's called LACRA. It's at the free port of Monrovia. It's there. Now, BCADP, LCADP that you're talking about, those agencies, I told you the government of Liberia decided to entrust some services to private people instead of they themselves directly getting involved. That I gave you the example of the postal sector, of the telecommunication sector. So long ago, not because now the government that came power, BCADP, FCADP, a lot of them, since they've long been done away with. Unless, because whenever a sector cannot be fully attended to by private people that we expect to do it, then government can come in. And that I told you, the conversation on the table to see whether government can look for a partner, encourage them, let's go into PPP process, public-private partnership process, and see how we can address the rice issue, since the local farmers that we were expecting to supply the market are really showing their inability to do it. So
Thank you.
So
All right, go ahead.
And that is why we go to the importers. Yeah.
Thank you, Senator. Let's go to Bishop Hager. Bishop Hager.
Thank you, Ms. Honorable Senator. I have two questions. One of them have to do with the rice issue, and I just want to inform you from my research here on the line, rice in Liberia is cheaper than rice in the Ivory Coast, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and the other neighboring country. The Liberian government have been subsidizing the rice because, as you say here tonight, it is a political material, and the government believe that if the right price go up, they will lose the vote. So don't you think the reason why the effort is not being made to regulate or solve the right issue is because the government is afraid that it will have political consequences? Second thing that I want to ask you is how, because your Your election 2 years ago was very contentious. It even went to the Supreme Court. How is the reconciliation process going on with your defeated person that you defeated, even though he did not accept the result? I'm talking in terms of the Council Lavawu Superwu, the not Lavawu Superwu, but the Nathaniel Bawe. How is the reconciliation going on now? How is it going?
Well, I really don't. I really did not get your question, because the way you were posting the question, you were maybe alluding to an idea that maybe he was robbed out of the results, and all. I have contested and won an election. He came and protested that the results should have been in his favor. The Elections Commission, through their hearing officer, went through the process. Then it went to the Board of Commissioners. He still did not satisfy. He went to the Supreme Court, and he was still defeated. So it was legally determined that indeed I was the winner of the election. Currently, Honorable Nathaniel Bawe and I are members of the caucus of the Grand Kru Legislative Caucus, actively working together.
Okay.
So if that is the question that you want to ask, we are working together.
Okay, that's very good. I just want to know the reconciliation process going on, because it's very important for the nation progress. So the question I asked about the rice, Senator, I quoted, I gave the price in other neighboring country, Liberia being in terms of the subsidy, have the lowest price of rice, and the government continue to get $11 million.
Now, yeah, why you already indicated, yes, you agree with me, rice, and not only rice, fuel, other essential commodities are all political commodities. Now, what you are saying, it means that because rice is a political commodity, so the government they can't even say that, man, that vote with it, so let's leave it at that. So they should not ensure that they should not ensure the availability of the commodity.
Well, what I'm saying, Honorable Senator, the government know that the solution it cannot be sustained. They allow it because they don't want to lose political vote. That's all, because they know what to do and they're afraid to do it. The government is afraid to do it, afraid to take decision, because they don't want to lose vote. That's it. No. And after the election, the same problem will still be there. Why will you take 11 million of our money? Why will you take 11 million of our money and give it to foreign businesses? And that problem will still be there. Why can't we just open up the market and allow the market force to determine the price of rice?
Because rice is essential. So rice, our people are considering it as their staple food. Liberian, if they don't eat rice, they will not maybe sleep well, and that is why government takes it important to ensure that they provide a way where it can be available always on the market. It's not because of political reason. Whether government will be elected or will not be elected, rice must be available for consumption of our people to survive. Without rice, there's problem. And for the problem to be solved, government must ensure that the rice is made available. The government is supporting the agricultural sector. You talk about carry. Carry is effectively working. You're talking about the Ministry of Agriculture. The ministry, through its department, the Department of Technical Affairs, the Department of Extension, the Department of Research and Planning and Research, they are all working effectively. The only thing is our farmers, instead of coming together in groupings, forming cooperatives, they do it alone. So their production is not sufficient to sustain the market. Government has to intervene to ensure that rice is available. Because if it is not available, it will be a problem. That problem must be solved.
Thank you, Senator Bartekwa. That's the first round of questioning from our panelists. Before I begin another round, let me take your attention away from the rice crisis again. and bring you, because my primary concerns and my questions will be specifics to the needs of your constituents, the people of Grand Kru County. Earlier in the president's performance, earlier on this program, you said that President Weah has done extremely well, and you also insinuated that given the fact that it is his first time being president, so the Liberian people should just overlook his performance. I'm not quoting you directly, but you alluded to the fact that he's pretty much learning on the job. The first few years, he learning on the job, and failing to take into account that President Weah, prior to becoming president, he lost 2 elections, and he was also senator. So he must have been aware of the challenges that the country was facing at the time. So to excuse him of all that and say that he was learning on the job, I think, or you need to revisit that statement. But my question to you on President Weah performance, since you say he's done extremely well, in what areas do you think President Weah has done extremely well since he took office? And to the people of Grand Kru County.
Let me first
Okay, go ahead. Address that
let me first
Go ahead.
yeah, let me first indicate to you when you emphasizing the concept of learning on the job, I just indicated to you whether you have PhD, whenever you enter any service, practically you must be orientated. You must be updated before you get on track. As soon as you enter an office, your very few months needed to talk about admissions higher office. That's what I said. I indicated even lawmakers, representatives, senators. As soon as, I don't care how educated you are, when you enter the office for the very first few months, you must be orientated. You must be updated before you get on track. So that's what I indicated to you. So I'm not. So when you emphasizing President, we are learning on job. That is taking my statement out of context. Now let me tell you, if you talk about what President Weah has done,
what areas has he performed extremely well?
The critical roles issue that he's addressing, and I would lay out all of the roads segments that are currently under construction. And you didn't even want all of them. Didn't want to give me chance to outline all of the roads because that was not your interest. So, President, we have done well. Look at the educational system. You're talking about students currently in the country. Everybody is now having the opportunity, both on the community colleges level, on the university level, have asset. Nobody can say because I don't have money, so I cannot go to school. They have afforded the opportunity. You talk about students that don't even have money in the secondary schools. Their monies are all being paid by the government. Those are laudable efforts that the government is carrying out. I told you the educational system. I told you the health system. Yes, that is addressing what he has done is so huge until I can ask all of you to join me. Let us all support President Weah to be re-elected for his second term.
All right, before I ask the President, Senator Bartekwa highlighted that the President has done extremely well in the educational sector, in the health sector. I will leave that as it is and move on. I'll come to you next, Mr. Jawinkin Weah. But let's go to Grand Kru County. I'm sure there were issues that were facing the resident of Grand Kru County that you will hope to address when you campaign to be their senator. My question to you: what are some of the issues that the Grand Kru County residents are faced with, and how are you handling those issues?
Let me tell you, I told you presently, I just told you that our county is being made accessible in almost all of the districts. Only one that is remaining. What we are contending with now is to pave the roads in the county.
All right.
What? You don't want me to talk again?
No. You pause. I'm sorry to interrupt. But you pause. I thought you were done. But go ahead.
A roads network is my passion. The Bagley streets are currently being paved. the roads that are leading, even from the one that came from Harper, that came to Fishtown, we want to connect it with paved road now, coming from Kamuyeka, going all the way inside to go to Barclayville, to pave it. The one that is coming from Plivo to come to Barclayville is being upgraded. The next plan is after we complete the one that coming from Kamuyeka is to pave that road. So my passion is road network development in not only my county but the country. Not only that, the educational system in the county. I enacted the law. I proposed the creation of the community college in Grand Kru, and that the first it was TVET. If we elevated it now to a community college, so Grand Kru now has a community college, and that college is being planned. We have just allotted land, provided money to provide the infrastructure for the effective operation of that school. We also provided 2 vocational schools, one in the district 1, one in district 2. So all of these things are being done in line with our commitment we made with the people, we made to the people of the county.
Thank you so much, Senator Bartekwa. Mr. Weir, you had a question.
Oh yes, I wanted to really ask the senator whether, like, because I know I get a lot of calls every day from Liberia, people asking me for school fees. You talk about including people at the University of Liberia, and I am always in Monrovia every year. So I don't know whether Senator Bartekwa really pitched me talking about the reality of life in Liberia, because there are many people that I know who are not in school for school fees. My question is on the decentralization process. Let me take you back a little bit. Here, I got a list of the rice crisis in Liberia right now. In your Grand Kru County, Grand Kru, the 25 pounds of bag of rice there in that place is it used to be $13, but I understand it's $28.26 right now in your county. So livelihood in Liberia, what I'm trying to say is that it's at the mercy of nature. There is no set standard for any child in Liberia to say, if I did this, I'm going to get this. Where is the infrastructure? Where is the structure that the government put in place that students of Liberia are required to do to get certain things? For example, I don't know how to put the question. Like, there are a lot of both boys and girls that are competing. They got to know somebody in government before they do this, because you the Congress, there is nothing to say like the student will apply for them to get this unless they have that connection. That's what I'm asking. Where is the structure that you have in place?
You are not specific, my dear. You are not specific. But let me tell you, you talk about schools. If anybody is at the University of Liberia asking for school fee from you, that person wants to eat money from you. Please, if you want to support them, support them. But the University of Liberia's school fees is free. Tottenham University free. All of the community colleges school fees free. Anybody asking for school fees, that person wants money. So let me make it clear. Now, you are not specific on the issue of the rice business. If you talk about Grand Kru, the price of rice has rocketed as to the other places. Grand Kru is part of Liberia. Liberia facing a crisis. They face a crisis. So you cannot only say Grand Kru rice will be different, their price will not go up when their source of supply, which is Monrovia, is facing the shortage of the commodity. So
the reason the reason asking the question is that you said the government was doing everything. Because I know other panelists ask you that because the government is spending 11 million. Why is it that the government of Liberia cannot train people to use that money to train people? You talk about the people who are not wanting to work together. Where is the program that are willing to train people like anybody in the United States like this? Because here government can put money aside that this is what we have. If group of people come together, this is what they're going to get. Where is that program to solve this problem? Because $11 million is not small money. I know it can do something great.
The government of Liberia has a plan for food production, for agricultural program. They have a program. You see, CARE is there, conducting research to advise farmers seeds that are suitable to specific places. Through their research, they are there. Farmers are utilizing it. The only thing, again, as I said, the farmers that are using these research results are not living up to the expectation of the market. And that is why the shortage is coming. So it's not that efforts is not being applied. Efforts is being applied. The government is investing more.
Thank you so much, Senator.
In agriculture. But let me tell you, whenever these things come, there where the research can be studies can be conducted again, come back on the drawing board. We wanted to do this, we were doing this to see that this method that we adopted was going to address the market. But the way it's looking at this, we need to do it. And that's why I told you the government is currently on the table discussing to see what alternative measures to take to address, to provide a lasting solution to this problem. So it's not that the government is sitting down.
Thank you, Senator.
And this problem is not unique.
Thank you, Senator. Before I move on to Bishop Hagar for our next question, I would like to encourage you panelists to be brief with your question to keep in mind the time, and also to you, Senator, if you can also shorten your answer and be very specific in answering the question, because we have a lot of issues to be discussed. So I'd like to encourage the panelists to keep the question brief, and to you, Senator, to also keep your answer very short and to the point.
If they ask the question and make it long with all the things that you're supposed to, because if you don't answer them, it will remain on your mind thinking that the government is not addressing those issues. That's why the way the questions are being asked, that's how the questions and the responses are being provided.
I agree. Thank you. Let's go to Bishop Hagar. Bishop Hagar, ask the question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Senator. Before you begin, Senator, you are a representative for one of the districts in 2011 when you won and then defeated in 2017. Tonight I hear you praising the Georgia government. When you were represented, you were also praising the administration of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Now today you are praising, even though you won the election as a senator, as an independent candidate. Can I subscribe that you are looking for political gain since you are from Kru? And the president is a cool man. Maybe you're trying to be politically correct.
What political correctness are looking for? What political correction are looking for? I'm a senator. I'm sitting down. Whether Georgia is not elected, I will be senator. Whether Georgia is elected, I will be senator. So what am I looking for? Nothing. I'm not looking for any favor. Nothing. I'm a senator for president. I'm ending my second year, so I have 7 more years to be there. Georgia, the day if he's elected, the day his tenure will be ending is when my senatorial tenure will end. So what am I looking for? You need to readdress the question, because I'm not looking for any political favor.
But the question was, in 2011, when you're representative, you all praised it.
That has nothing to do with my assessment now of the government. It has nothing to do with my assessment of the government. Nothing.
I'm seeing you like you always shouting with the power that be. That's I'm trying to find out whether it's other conviction or political correctness. That's what I'm trying to find.
If that is your observation, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
May I come in, please? Can you guys hear me?
Yes. I'm sorry, I was muted. Go ahead, Reverend Addy.
Honorable Senator, the we-led government is often quick to say we've made education free. Are you aware that quality education is a challenge in Liberia? Evidenced by the fact that 36% of your primary school teachers are unqualified, combined with 29% of those who are unqualified to teach secondary education.
Where you got your statistics from?
I will definitely tell you. Are you also aware, Honorable Senator, that Liberia is behind most African countries, and yet you guys tout this issue that education is free? By way of information, where I got my statistics, UNICEF.
You got the question, Senator?
You are muted.
No, I'm not
Hello, I didn't
muted.
hear you.
All right, so let me repeat. So let me repeat.
I didn't hear you.
Right. So let me repeat very quickly. It is reported that Liberia is behind most countries. The quality of our education is significantly very poor. 36% of your primary teachers, 36% of teachers teaching primary education are unqualified, 29% teaching secondary education are unqualified. Yet and still, as a senator, you sit here and you're touting the fact that education is free. By way of history, the CDC-led government often assert that the first time in history education is made free, and that's not true. Since 1923, under Edwin Barclay, primary education was made free for all Liberians, not secondary, not college level education. But let's be very clear. You're touting free school, free education. Are you aware that we have one of the highest dropout of primary school children and secondary school children who aren't going to school in Liberia as a result of poor quality education, poor infrastructure?
Reverend?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you stay asking because I'm not
No,
hearing you.
I am done. Please go ahead.
Okay. Reverend, you need to help us to get to the country and see how all of us can encourage our young people to take interest in education. Schools are made available. Teachers are made available in almost all of the towns throughout the country. Now, you're talking about 29% of secondary teachers are substandard, they are not qualified. So that means about 71 are qualified. That 29 needs to be worked on. I don't know where you got your statistics from, because
UNICEF,
we have our teachers going to. Okay, so you are privileged to have access to that statistics. To me, I don't have access to it. But what I'm saying, the 71% is a substantial portion of the teachers that you keep the educational system on track. If the 29, that is why every time we have the RTTIs are upgrading teachers every year, every vacation, to make sure that the teachers are updated to perform excellently and live up to the expectation of the educational system. So the challenge that I'm talking about is that these days, young people, instead of going to school, the money issue is so huge in their mind. Schools that in communities, you have to go there and talk to them over. Everybody want to go to gold mine. Everybody want to go different activity, motorcycle riding that they will get quick money from. And that challenge is being confronted with by the government. And the government is being confronted with this challenge. And we're going up with it. The wire result this year can tell you that the teachers are excellently performing. Wire that is being conducted in the sub-region by the countries that are working together. So the way our educational system was producing huge failure has substantially reduced. That can tell you the educational system is working. So if you are maybe if you have access to
Go ahead, follow
information
up,
that are not privileged to have access from, so that's it. The school system
you often ask me,
is working effectively.
You often ask me where I got my
responding to the needs of the educational system.
Reverend Adi, let he follow up.
Mr. Senator, are you aware that we have the highest dropout rate in the world between ages 6 to 14 years old?
Drop out where?
From school.
From school.
School?
Yeah. Primary and secondary education. Are you aware of that?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Already, the statistics I just indicated to you, the statistics that you have access to, I don't have it. But again, I just indicated to you the factors since after the war that the government is being confronting the issue of young people taking interest in commercial activities other than going to school, which is the pimping, riding, the coal mining, all type of commercial activities that the young people engaging in. That issue is a serious national crisis that all of us are contending with.
Senator,
What is the opportunity?
Senator, I'm sorry to interrupt, but just to follow up to Reverend Adi question.
Has nothing to do with the educational system is not there because schools are there, teachers are there, the facilities are there for them to go to school. But instead of going there, they preferred prioritizing the economic activity through pimping, riding, gold mining activities. That issue has nothing to do with the availability of schools and teachers.
Senator, just to
Yes.
the honorable senator, you to follow up to Reverend Adi's question, the statistic he made reference to, you said you're not aware of it, but earlier you said that the CDC government is doing extremely well in the educational sector. It is on those statistics that people use to grade a government on how they are doing, especially in the educational sector. So, what information are you using to grade the CDC or we are government that is doing extremely well as far as education is concerned?
Schools are available in almost all of the towns throughout the country. Teachers are there. Students are no longer paying money. He's talking about way back education was made free.
Talk about quality education. What about quality education? Mm-hmm.
And you know, quality education, when you're talking about this time now, not only University of Liberia providing teachers, Tottenham University have teachers education, the community colleges have teachers education. So all of these teachers that are coming from these schools are all being deployed in the educational system. They are uplifting the system. They are providing quality services to the educational system. So if you say that the educational system is not producing quality education, then of course it's strange to me, because we are, as a government, trying our best to ensure that quality teachers are used to manage our school system.
Thank you, Senator. I'll come to you. Bobby, do you have a question?
I've been surprised sitting here, just Hold
on, let me just follow up. This president, the senator, is like in the zone to talk about this. You're a lawmaker, of course. You have access to statistics as far as education is concerned. What is the current literacy rate in Liberia, since we're talking about quality education?
The current literacy rate of Liberia. No, but when you say you are a lawmaker, you're supposed to have access to statistics. Today, I don't know what it is, so I don't want to provide statistics to it.
You don't know what the current literacy rate is, but you said the CDC administration is doing well in the educational sector.
I don't want to rely on information, past information. Currently, that the one that he's quoting, I don't have access to it, so I don't want to put it to it.
UNICEF, sir, UNICEF.
Let's move on to Bobby Mitchell Crawford.
That's what I'm saying. The UNICEF did not provide it to me; they provided it to you.
But no, this is information on the world market, sir.
Yeah, my dear.
That's
the
okay.
World market. I'm saying currently I don't have access to it. You say
that's
on
fine.
the world
Acceptable.
market.
Acceptable.
I don't have access to it.
All right, let's move on to Bobby Mitchell Crawford, and then Blow J, you will be next after Bobby.
Honorable Senator, I just want to pivot a little bit on investment and concession. I will tie into the rest issue real quick. Several weeks ago, I think we discussed it here on the show, right? The United States government issued a damning report specifically about the investment climate in Liberia. And they said part of the problem that is hampering investment in Liberia has to do with corruption, poor road condition, inadequate electricity, poor internet service, amongst other things. You are just identified as being a part of the CDC-led government, which is okay. What is the CDC government is doing to rectify this problem that the United States climate report alluded to? That's my first question. And another one has to do with a statement. When LPMC was created by statutory designation, it was serving as a clearinghouse. They only had a head office in Monrovia. They were stationed in Banga. I know it because I did my first vacation job over there. In the hinterland, to engage with farmers where they brought their produce, they sold it. The fact that you're telling me, I'm okay with the name change. The fact that you're telling me it has been removed from those counties and is now stationed at the Freeport of Monrovia.
No, you are misquoting me. You are misquoting me. You are misquoting me.
You said LPNC
it been moved from the county.
Senator,
you are misquoting me.
Senator, let him complete the question. You have the opportunity to clarify.
You said, and I quote, LPNC name has changed. I will find that out later.
I don't want you to provide misinformation.
You will have the opportunity to clarify. Yeah. Go ahead.
You said LPMC name has changed. That was just a statement. And you said now the head office is in Monrovia at the Freeport. That's what you said. But
where it was before.
It was. Where is it now?
LPMC office
was that one. That's my first question.
The head office of LPMC was in Monrovia.
Senator,
and the local offices go to Nima, carry Accra offices in Nima, Accra offices in Bon County.
All right, Derek, let's just forget about LPNC. Let me answer my first question.
Senator, LPNC offices where
Senator,
Accra offices are there. So it doesn't change anything.
Mr. Crawford is asking if you can kindly respond to his first question and disregard.
Forget about LPMC, rank my role. Answer the investment climate report issued by the United States government several weeks ago.
Mr. Crawford,
yes,
Mr. Crawford, exactly because of even problem that we know already ourselves, that our economic will be stagnated if we don't improve the road situation. And that's what the American government talk about. So it's not something that we don't know about. And that's why already we are improving the road situation. I would name it to you the effort the government is carrying out to ensure that most of our primary roads are paved, not only rehabilitated, but are paved. Just because we are aware that the only way our economic will improve, our economic will be given is when the roads are paved. And that's exactly what the American government talk about. So it's not new thing. It's something that we know about already. If they talk about corruption, they can come with specificity to say this person corrupt in the business sector, this person carry out business in the business sector, this person corrupt. They can come with specificity.
Well,
I can address American government coming up to say we got corruption in the business sector. I can't.
The sanction to corrupt official though. They follow up with the sanction to corrupt official.
Senator, you say you're not aware of the sanctions officials? But let's move on to Bloody Choppy Charlie.
No, I'm not talking about sanctions. You didn't talk about sanction official. You say
you talk about corruption and then you pivot a little bit. You didn't even adequately address the question, Mr. Senator.
You try to be specific when
let's go to Bloody Choppy Charlie. Bloody, you have the senator attention. Senator.
Yes, Mr. Senator.
Yeah.
And my use of the term "you" does not refer to you as an individual. It refers to the legislature. So just so you know, the question I'm about to ask.
Granted.
So I think what I'm listening to tonight is related to what two theory criminologists have posted, one called broken window theory and another criminology theory that is called blaming the victim, where the legislature, and we've heard this, and I'm hearing it from you, continue to blame the citizen. Either the farmers cannot produce insufficient food, the farmers are unwilling to cooperate,
Exactly.
and that's why they're not producing. Or in the case of education, the parent don't want to go to school, or the young people don't want to go to school because they want to make money. I don't know how you expect people to feed themselves if they don't do work and make money. So again, I'm hearing a lot of contradictions, and I'm trying to understand this. I'll bring you back to the right question. Food security in a country is not just about eating one food, rice, dry rice. It also has to do with nutrition, feeding the next generation, the young people. If they don't have good nutrition, the next generation of people will be having learning disability from primary age. They will be suffering from all kinds of negative consequences. So food security is very critical to nation building. So I'm coming back to the food security question. And I'm putting it to you, the legislature, that one of the reasons why the legislature continue to appropriate funding for importers, for private investors, as opposed to increasing money for farmers to produce, is because there's a cartel that the legislature are getting a cut by giving money to these importers instead of giving money to our farmers. Because today I saw a post from one of the rice producers in Liberia, local rice producer. You can check it out on Facebook, Mr. Armstrong Jabba. And one of the things he complains about is that yellow machines, to even help farmers, they have to pay $200,000 to use one to help a farm, and they don't have that resource. But instead of government buying the yellow machine that will help the farmers, government don't do that. They leave the burden with the farmer. And you are telling me that there is enough money has been put in agriculture. So how do you respond to this thing, that the actual reason why the legislature keep appropriating money for importers, Lebanese businessmen, particularly as opposed to the Liberianization programs that say you should put money into Liberian businesses, who's a rural farmer, is because there's a cartel that the legislature is getting a cut from this process? Kickbacks.
Mr. Bloyer.
Yes, sir.
I'm sitting here as a senator, elected by my people. Your statement is an insult to me, not only to me, to the legislature of your country. You have blatantly knowing that what you are doing is indeed a disrespectfulness that you are exercising to say legislation has a cartel that you have no evidence on, that you have no proof on.
It's a question, Mr. Senator.
So, yeah, but the question is insultive. The question is insultive. It's very, very fair to me as a senator sitting before you to say my body that I represent sitting before you has a cartel. Can he prove it? Does he have a proof that the legislature can give money to people, can go for it? Can he provide an evidence? In the absence of providing an evidence, it's an insult to me, not only to me, but to the legislature of Liberia. So let you go ahead. But you have insulted us, and I want you to desist from it. Don't do it.
Mr. Senator, as a follow-up,
you need to provide something that you have evidence of. Tell me that you have evidence. When you say there is an evidence, the ex-legislator went to that place, and you see he allotted the money. He went to that person and got money. In the absence of that, it's an insult. You should desist from it from your show. Because
okay, Mr. Senator, as a follow-up, as a follow-up to the question, and you have not responded. I respect your dismissal. No, I respect your dismissal
to your disrespectful attitude.
But there's a hard zone, and besides that, as a citizen, we have the right to prove.
Because of the hard zone, so you disrespect people. You lie on them. You say anything sweeping
I'm not lying. I'm not accusing you.
I'm sorry, guys. Listen.
Your hazard will not be credible because
Listen.
you're supposed to come up with facts. You're supposed
Mr. Senator, there's a question. I'm not accusing you. I'm not accusing you, Mr. Senator.
As a journalist, the question has to be a fair question. It has to be.
It's not a fair question.
Mr.
Senator, as a follow-up.
You're supposed to provide evidence.
Mr. Senator,
I understand. I hear. I did.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Don't take disrespect from people. Don't do it next time to me.
Mr. Senator, may we follow up? Yeah, as a follow-up, Mr. Senator.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there was a question, and I think we have the right to ask questions so we can understand because
you're right. Where your right end is where the right of the other person begins. Where your right end is where the right of the. You can't come to me on a public forum and say, I, as a member of the legislature, allot money to businessmen. In the internet, I go for it when you have no evidence.
Let's hear you out.
It's wrong.
I'm sorry. Sorry for interrupting you, Senator.
I'll do my follow-up.
I'll come back to you,
If that is why you call it Hazu, if that is why you call it Hazu, just to demean officials that you invite characters, then of course it's wrong. To demean
let's invite Jar Winkin. Let me hear you for a second.
Facts. When you're talking to people, you talk with them with facts.
Okay, Senator, this is my point of view. Article 1 of the 1986 Constitution clearly states that the purpose of serving government is to serve the people, to work for their security and their satisfaction. So, as citizens of Liberia, all those who working in the Liberian government, including the president, are servants of the Liberian people. The Liberian people have the right to ask them questions for their satisfaction. Having said that, I think Blojo.
Not to defeat your character, not to demean your character.
It's not different.
Honorable Senator, let him finish the question.
Honorable Senator, he's simply asking. Myself, I had experience because I run the organization in Liberia, the NGO. There is no sector, there is no office. Any paperwork you do in Liberia, they ask for bribe. So that is another question.
Government people?
Yes, government offices, all offices, all the ministries. Yes, every piece of paper they say no ink, you got to pay. But that is another question. But I want for all Liberians who are serving in government to know that if he say vote for me, you are telling the Liberian people that please hire me to work for you. When you hire somebody, they work for you. It should not be the other way around when it comes to Liberia. So when you are in government, you should be willing to answer all the questions asked by the Liberian people, because this is in line with Article 1 of the Liberian Constitution.
Is it a lie or you?
Let me come in. Honorable Senator.
You're turning the Constitution upside down.
Honorable Senator.
Yeah.
I will give Flo J the chance again to follow up on his question, but I can speak for him on this. None of Flo J's question, including the one that you feel he disrespected you and your position or the legislature. I don't think it was Flo J's intention for you to come off like that. I think he was just asking a question as is his right. You are a servant to him as a senator of a county of the country of which he's from. So I will give Flo J the opportunity to follow up on his question. And I hope you give him a chance to complete his question. Flo J, go ahead.
Yeah, but let me go ahead.
Thank you.
Is correct. Say what is correct, not lies.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Senator. I was providing an opportunity to clarify because we've heard statement and we have to ask these questions. So it was an opportunity for you to clarify. But anyway, we have to move on. And I'm coming back again to the contradiction in your explanation about the rice issue. This is serious. You alluded and you argued that the Ministry of Agriculture has been given enough resources to service farmers, but then at the same time, you're saying the farmers are producing less food, inefficient food. So my question to you is, how is it that the Ministry of Agriculture has been given enough resources to help farmers and the farmers are producing less? Why is that happening? Have you addressed that?
Well, I don't know why it is. Please join me. Let us investigate why the farmers are producing less. I just indicated to you, so we got to go back on the drawing table to see what is happening. I just indicated to you. So join us now. Since you are journalists, sometimes you have to be investigative journalist. Let us all now go on the drawing board and see why is it happening. Some of you have to take up time, go to Liberia and see what really happening with agriculture sector.
Thank you very much, Senator. And guys, it has been a very interesting and intriguing conversation. At this point, we would like to take a very brief break, and when we come back, we will continue more of this conversation. And you're watching the Horizon with Derek Yale on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. Continue to share the program, continue to participate in the comment sessions, and we will see you after this break.
Hey there. Many Liberians are members of social clubs, 501c NGOs, and school alumni. Many Liberians are trying to open their own 501c NGOs, home care agencies, and social clubs. Does your organization have a professional website? Does your web platform have the right wording and content to attract grants? Hopefully you're not running your organization only through social media. There's a more professional route. You need an online space where you can craft a positive message about your organization, making your home health agency more credible, which will increase your chances to receive grants. We'll build you a responsive platform for 501c organizations, healthcare agencies, and other types of organizations. We'll provide you with full website maintenance, membership sign-in, private charts, Facebook and WhatsApp integration, live video feed for all your meetings and special occasions, a dashboard for members to see all the activities, and email and text auto reminders for meetings. We'll build with donors and 501cs in mind, and will help you solicit grants and automatic membership due collections. Building you this amazing platform will only be a membership fee of $19 a month. Call or email us now. Let's upgrade your website. Home health agencies and small businesses, you owe it to your company to project the best image possible, and we can make it happen. Visit www.tiamit.com or call 215-966-8679. Ask for Tommy.
Welcome back to the Horizon with Derek Yale on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. And thank you so much for staying with us from episode 1 to episode 8, and continue to engage the program, continue to engage the conversation, and follow the network on Facebook and YouTube. Tonight we're doing an exclusive interview with our senator from Grand Kru County. Senator, we'd like to welcome you back with our panelists on the screen to continue on this conversation or this exclusive interview with the senator. And Senator Bartekwa, thank you so much for your response and contribution to the program tonight. We'll just get straight into it. We'll go to Reverend Addy for another question to begin this round.
Thank you, Senator Bartekwa. You are the chairman on concession, predominantly our extractive industries, that have in fiscal year 2019-2020
The way you speaking enough, I know you really got that. Go ahead, sir.
Right. Thank you. So, in 2019-2020 fiscal year, Liberia generated $70 million from the extractive industry. Nathaniel McGill, when you look at the Global Magnitsky
Mhm.
Act, was accused of corruption tied to the concessionary areas of Liberia. Are you aware of the sanctions and what it entailed, or has the president discussed those issues with you, given the fact that you were chairman, or you are the chairman rather, on the mining and concession extractive industry? Have you seen the information from the U.S. government? Has the president discussed it with you?
Reverend, the sanctioning of government officials by the U.S. government is a serious concern to the government. We have listened to it, we've read it, we know weighted those accusations are. Unfortunately, when even on the sideline, those people that are involved were asked, they put up defensive posture, but they have been relieved of their positions. They have resigned. Part is that when these people are addressed before courts of competent jurisdiction, how will the evidence that are being adduced being provided? American government will not go to court. American government will not go to court. They came up with their decision. So I think what really the president did was correct, to relieve them of their position, to suspend them, and then I said, resigned. What really is to be done? We are still fashioning it out to see how it can be addressed. But corruption is an act that all of us are concerned about, because it undermines the development of our country. It undermines our service delivery to the people. So whenever somebody is accused of it, it's of concern to all of us.
But have
They
you
have
called them
now
for
been
hearing?
dismissed.
Have you called them for
Well,
hearing? That's chairman on
how
concession.
can we call them for hearing?
You're the chairman on concession, and you were linked to this
How can we call them for hearing?
because the
How can we
corruption
call them
has to
for
do with
hearing?
mining.
No issue of corruption. Whenever you are dismissed, you are taken to court. The government
So we're
fashioning
talking
out
about
even if these
mining as chairman for the industry. They were linked to that. Nathaniel McGill was linked to several contracts of mining establishment. You are the chairman on concession in mining. What have you done?
there is a man who has been accused, relieved of his post. If he's relieved of his post, you were invited when the man is already dismissed or resigned, you will call him.
Thank you.
The man
Thank you
supposed
so
to go
much,
to
Senator.
court.
Thank you,
He's supposed to
Senator.
go to court. Yeah.
Thank you,
He's supposed to
Senator.
be taken to court. It's not
Let's move.
legislature that will take him to court.
Thank you.
Let's move on to Bobby Mitchell Crow for your question.
Senator, you're a lifelong teacher, and you agree with me. People said doing normal dates, and my question is on education. We have pilot projects that I talk about exclusively on the show, like the improved efficiency of learning that used to be in Banga City, Bon County. We have Real Liberia and the feeding program. Those were all tools that the Ministry of Education used to enhance learning in Liberia. What is the WIA government, or what is the 54th legislature doing as far as funding this program or working with our developmental partners to see if they can bring back those programs that will enhance education? The Real Liberia, REL, and then the feeding program.
Presently, the feeding program is being provided by the World Food Program. The World Food Program is providing feeding for the primary students. And there are other programs like the ones you are talking about that are being implemented by our partners. We talk about Bridge. About 3 different international partners are implementing those programs throughout the whole country. So those programs are still going on.
Thank you.
Not the IEL and We Liberia. IEL has been in Doma since.
Really program is still been going on.
No.
The Ministry of Education, with the support of its partners, they have a reading program.
We Liberia was specifically initiated by UNESCO, and IEL was a pilot project by UNICEF. They are not operational. But what my question to you is, what is the government doing to re-engage them so they can make it more visible?
The Minister of Education just about last month went to UNESCO conference that invited all educational stakeholders to see how the programs that they were implementing in the various countries, how can they be reactivated. So I think, but again, beside that one, I'm saying there are several other programs gearing towards the same objective those people are, that other partners are carrying out.
Thank you so much, Senator Bartekwa. Let's move on to Mr. Jarwinkin-Weah for our final question on this section. Mr. Jarwinkin-Weah.
Okay, Senator Numene Bartekwa. Here is my question.
Again, we have the last question. I thought we had.
No. I'm sorry. I'll come to you next, Lord. Yeah. My bad.
Here is my question. What are you doing, meaning the Congress, Liberia legislature, about decentralization when it comes to somebody getting the Liberian passport, driver license, and birth certificate? I see that people are leaving from your county, from Maryland, everybody coming to Monrovia to acquire these kind of services.
The government of Liberia, through the legislature, enacted a decentralization law. And as a means of implementing that law, we established service centers in almost in all the counties. So those service centers are being used to provide services for which people used to come to Monrovia. In the first more than that, we have again initiated the process of sharing as a means of implementing the decentralization, sharing taxes with the local with the counties. That is being piloted in Magibi. Presently, Magibi is partnering with the government, collecting taxes, and those taxes will be shared between Magibi and the central government. That pilot is to be implemented, is to be repeated in all the counties eventually. So the decentralization process is being implemented.
So,
thank you. Yeah. You want to follow up? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to follow up. So, are you saying that it is, aside from Monrovia, it is only one spot? Can I get a passport when I'm in Harper?
No. There are other services that eventually will follow that have not been carried out, because passport issue is very critical. The infrastructure to deal with passport issue has to be established in all the counties before passport can be issued on the local level. But you talk about marriage certificate, you talk about marriage certificate, you talk about
no, birth certificate and driver license.
Tax statement, yeah, birth certificate, all those ones, they are being provided. Those services are being provided at the service centers in the various counties.
Let's go. Let's go to you, Blow J. Choppy Charlie. Give us your question.
Okay, thank you again. Mr. Senator, you are a member of the Judiciary Committee, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And the president of Liberia is going to be coming to United States to attend the Democracy Summit. One of the issues the president will be confronting at the summit there would be commitment that Liberia made last year when the president attended that same summit virtually. Some of the commitment had to do with the restructure of the Anti-Corruption Commission, which the government has already done, and some other things that the government is expected to do. But one of the critical issues that the government committed to, that the president will have to answer in Washington, D.C., has to do with the establishment of a corruption code to deal with corruption in the country. And the president has said expressly, which is a fact, that he doesn't have the power to establish a code. Only the legislature have that power, and the president is correct. Why have the legislature not established a corruption code? And some people arguing that the legislature has not been audited, and legislature have refused to be audited, and that's why they are afraid for a corruption code, because they could be held accountable for corruption. How do you respond to that, Mr. Senator?
Mr. Broye, you know, the government, the judiciary system presently has A, B, C, D, E criminal codes, and corruption is a criminal act. So if anybody commits a corrupt act, what is stopping whoever is adducing evidence against that person to produce the evidence for the Minister of Justice to prosecute the person in one of the criminal courts? All of the criminal courts are there. They are empowered to adjudicate criminal cases, including corruption. Corruption is a criminal act.
Yeah, but the government made a commitment to establish a specific corruption code. That's a question. A commitment was made to establish a specific corruption code.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know if the president he made the commitment, but you know that we are three distinct but coordinating branches. If the president present an issue to the legislature that I made this commitment, so this thing needs to be implemented, we need to do this. In fact, most every year the president present his legislative plan. His legislative plan to say, let's do this. Not only we, the legislature, can come up with bills, the president also has his own bill that he can present. So if that is presented to the legislature based on the commitment he made, the legislature will address it. But again, as I said, there is no reason why somebody will commit a criminal act like corruption and that person cannot be prosecuted when the evidence are available in Liberia, because all of the courts are empowered, especially from A to E. The criminal courts are empowered fully to investigate criminal cases, including corruption.
Thank you so much, Senator Bartekwa. And before I ask you my question, I'll just like you to clarify a statement Bloje made when he was asking you the question. He said that the president do not have the power to establish a corruption court in Liberia, taking into consideration that the president is the only person privileged with the executive order responsibility. Do you think it's a true statement from Bloje that the president do not have the power to establish a corruption court?
The president is the architect of the foreign service and foreign policy of the government. When he goes out and interact with the international community, when he comes back, he makes his presentation to the legislature. Whatever needs to be done by the legislature, He presented to us, and then it's done.
So is the statement from Blodio correct or incorrect? Does the president have the power?
But the enactment of a code of a law to create
Do the president have the power to establish a corruption court?
Let me tell you. Let me wait now. The power to create a corruption court is the power of the legislature. But if the president went out and made a commitment, he has to come back to the legislature and say, "I made this commitment, so this thing needs to be done." We cannot hear it in the air.
So, Senator, you're telling the Liberian people and people from Grand Kru County that the president cannot pass an executive order to establish a corruption court in Liberia.
But executive order is not. Executive order has a tenure. Executive order cannot exceed certain time. Executive order has a limited duration.
So the president do not have the power to do that. I just need an answer from you.
No,
don't. Why do you want me to say if the president?
So no, yes or no would suffice.
If the president made an executive order to create a court, that court will have a limited duration because executive order has.
So he can
do it. Limited jurisdiction. The president will respect to the legislature to enact law that will create the corruption court.
All right, thank you, Senator. The final question to you, we'll go back to the issue of corruption, and specifically, former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Nathaniel McGill. Before he was put on the U.S. Treasury's sanction list, there's a video that made rounds on social media of him alluding to stealing from the Liberian people, where he said even if we're stealing, we're using the money in country. And also, a few weeks later, he got put on U.S. sanction list. And there were several conversations about McGill's previous life and his current life. He left from quote unquote not having anything to sudden riches. So my question to you on the issue of corruption: do you think? I know you support the government. Do you think this government is a corrupt government?
Whether it's a corrupt government?
Yes. Do you think the we administration is a corrupt administration?
Not to my knowledge, this government is not corrupt.
Thank you so much, Senator. Ladies and gentlemen, watching the Horizon tonight, it has been a very interesting conversation with the Senator from Grand Kru County. And I'd like to thank all of you panelists for your participation in the conversation tonight. We will take a very short break, and when we come back, we will do our fans' favorite sessions on the Horizon, the icebreaker round. So when we come back, we will give you another edition of the icebreaker round on the Horizon. You're watching Derek Yale with the Horizon on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. See you later.
Hi, my name is Theophilus Julipan Nelson I. I am the founder and CEO of Lift Africa LLC. Lift Africa started as an employment agency that sought the employment of immigrants coming to the U.S. and finding ways and means to go to start life in this great country. Now we have added airport pickups and drop, car rental, hall rental. As you see, we have a new business location. Started with just a little office part, but today we have a whole complex that we can do a lot of stuff with.
Hello everyone, my name is Geneva Kreitz. I'm the Executive Administrator of Uplift Africa. We have an excellent employment rate at our company. We work with and for you regardless of your situation. If you've ever been in prison, maybe your background isn't great, do not worry. We have a place for you here. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone, especially you. So sign up today and begin earning.
My name is Emmanuel B. Horton, Operational Director for Live Africa. Live Africa is the place to be.
Welcome back to the Hard Zone. My name is Derek Yale, and let me say this: it has been a very interesting and a very engaged conversation. We have with us tonight the senator from Grand Kru County. Senator, welcome back on this section of the hard zone. I would like to also invite our panelists back. And before I get into this final session of the hard zone, I would like to make to extend our condolence to the CEO of the LRTN network who lost his brother earlier today, and we would like to extend our sympathy to you, Mr. Anderson. And in honor of his memory, I would like to ask we do our 15-second silence. We should have done it in the beginning of the show, but I forgot about it. That was my fault. So have our condolence, and we hope that the good Lord comforts you and your family during this time, this period of bereavement. Alrighty, thank you so much. This is the icebreaker session of the hard zone, or I like to call it the fans' favorite. Continuing to engage the show, continues to continue to follow us and continue to participate in the program. This session, the icebreaker, the question we have from the production team, and I would like to start with the senator. You can take us a stab at it, and you can also give us your closing remark. Before I ask the question, Senator, I would like to thank you for coming on this program tonight, for availing yourself to questions from concerning on wide range of issues in Liberia. It is an honor to have you. This should not be your last time being part of this, being on this panel, and we look forward to having several conversations with you. So, Senator, you can answer this question. What is your favorite Liberian-owned business or business owner from or in Liberia? So you can answer that question if you choose to, and you can give us your closing remark.
Please say that again.
The question is, what is your favorite Liberian-owned business or business owner from Liberia? Who's your favorite business owner from Liberia or in Liberia?
There are, if I don't want to select one, there are few very effective, efficient young Liberians that are doing pretty well in businesses. So I don't want to be selective. I congratulate them and I ask them and to continue the efforts, and we will give them the support. So I don't want to be selective, but they are doing pretty well. Again, I want to thank all of you for the interaction. It was healthy. Yes, you want me to say now that I understand that this is why you call it a hard zone. Thank you. Let us remain engaged. Though I will not be here, but my office is open. Anytime there's need for us to have a conversation, please contact me. Mr. Anderson has all my contacts. My own partisan, I think henceforth I will advise you. You ask Mr. Anderson to give my contacts to you. Let us remain engaged. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. It was a pleasure having you on. And guys, we had such a good conversation with the senator, but we have to draw the curtain on this episode. So I would like for you to take a stab at the question for the icebreaker round tonight. What is your favorite Liberian-owned business or business owner from or in Liberia? Let me begin with Bishop Hagan. Bishop Hagan, what is your favorite Liberian-owned business, or who your favorite Liberian business owner?
Well, when I was there 2 years ago, I think I visited that restaurant, hotel, they call the Calabash. I learned it's for a Liberian, and I thought it was very impressive with the organization there. The services, I engaged with a lot of the people who worked there. They were very, very engaged. I mean, there was some level of decency there. I think there's a spirit of excellence being exhibited there. So they call the person name, but I can't remember the person right now. But I think with the domination of Lebanese, and I'm against Lebanese, but if Liberia need to go forward, Liberians need to take, first engagement in the business sector. So we want more Liberians involved in businesses taking over from other foreign nationals, because if that's our country. That's how all the nations are developed. The inhabitants, the citizens need to be at the forefront of business, because business that keep the nation going. So I salute you. Continue to do the great work, even expand to other area, and God bless you. Thank you.
And also, Bishop Hagar, you can close out on the program tonight, or give her your closing remark on our interview with the senator.
Well, it was a very wonderful conversation. Thank you to the senator from Grand Kru. This is all about Liberia. We come on the platform and maybe people will misjudge us. It's all about bringing balance in our analysis of the problems that Liberia face. If we will only be thinking one side and trying to be just praising the government, not really looking at the issue to bring some balance, then the government will not be able to be effective. So for me, I am on the opposition side. He came from the government side, and I still I respect him for his view, even though I do not consider that everything he said was honest. I'll be honest with you, because I went back and did the research. He was one of those that really praised the Ellen Johnson government, and some of the development he talked about, alluding to George, where I would think that he said about the Ellen Johnson city government. But that's fine. That's right now where he is. He want to be politically correct, and I respect him for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bishop Hagar. Let's move on to you, Bobby Michelle Crawford. Give us your take a stab at the question for icebreaker round tonight. What is your favorite Liberian-owned business, or who is your favorite business owner from Liberia or in Liberia? You can close out on the. You're muted.
There was a young man that was featured on this show, I think I think it was during one of our episodes. He operates a shoe business in Liberia. I don't know his name, but I think it was inspiring to read his story and some of the things he and his friends are engaging as far as business, producing show. So far, he's my favorite. Anything that young people, especially, we have a youthful population. So when you see young people engaging in enterprise of that nature, you can't help but be a fan. So I think that's my favorite so far. My closing thought. In May of 2021, President George Weah issued Executive Order 105, which basically removed all tariff on the importation of rice, right? That was a good thing that the government did, because rice, we all know, is our staple food. But here's what I have a problem. And when we say the government is not performing, most of the time we talk about George Weah. He has ministers that are helping in the execution of his duty. At this particular time, Marwan Dix, who is the Minister of Commerce Industry, supposed to be suspended or hauled before lawmakers to explain why she wasn't able to gauge what the government has in her inventory as far as working with businesses that is heavily subsidized to import rice in the country. That is dereliction of duty, and she needs we need some explanation from her. And this is what happened. If you don't rotate your appointees, your ministers, you just keep people in position from month, year, and year. People. Some of the ministers are not performing. To say the least, their performance is this month. When is the last time George Weah, fire or dismiss somebody? It took the United States government a session before even one of his ministers or three of his people could resign from their position. And I have yet to see the president address this national issue, because we all know race is a serious political issue in Liberia. I think last Sunday he was in his church picking unnecessary fight, forgetting to know that part of the being a president is to have emotional intelligence. And this is something that, with all due respect, he lacks. And he's supposed to be addressing the nation. This is a serious crisis. I just spent over $250 helping family members and friends in Liberia with the rest issue. So it's affecting all of us here, especially we that in the diaspora that have families back home. So I will hope the president will take some decisive action, recall non-performing ministers, and then address the nation and see how best he can mitigate the problem. That's my closing thought.
Thank you very much, Bobby Michelle Crawford. Let's go to you, Blue J. Choppy Charlie. Take a stab at the question for the icebreaker round tonight, and you can give us your closing remark.
My favorite businessman in Liberia is Mr. Armstrong Jabba. I think Armstrong Jabba deserves an award. There's a man who started a rice production a few years ago, and he has grown his farm. He's producing a lot of food in the country. And I think it's an example that Liberia can actually do food sufficiency if the level of support that is needed for rural farmer to produce. So Armstrong Jabba is doing a great job in Liberia. And I want to also say thanks to the senator. The senator was very excellent tonight, even though we try to tackle him. But that's the SM, the high zone. And the senator stood his ground. And I think one thing that is very critical, which I think brings a lot of value for the senator, is the fact that he's not running for re-elections in next year elections. He's not going to be contesting. So when people criticize him that he's supporting George Weah because he wants political favors, then it does not square with reality, because he's not running. He's not up for re-elections. So he doesn't necessarily have to support the president. I think his support is based on his belief. One may not agree with all his belief, but he's doing it. He's not going to benefit from that, except he wants transformation for his county and his people. And on that note, I also want to push back on the idea that the president of Liberia has not performed. You know, I was critical tonight of the legislature, not so much of the senator himself, but I thought the legislature has an important role to play in moving the country forward. The president can ask for the legislature to fund things. If the legislature doesn't give the president the money he needs for development, the president is not going to take the money from the rack. So that's where the legislature need to do more. And the president has done excellent so far in terms of transformation, the country, road developments, education, despite the huge challenge, but there is progress. And I think we can celebrate that. And we all look forward to the president coming to the December summit in Washington, D.C. To join other African leaders talking about transformation in Africa and progress. On that note, I want to say thanks to the panel.
Thank you so much, Lord J. Choppy Charlie. I'd like to go to Mr. Ja Winkin Weah. Take a stab at the question for the icebreaker round, and then you can close out on this episode.
Who was my driver when I was in Liberia? When I listened to his story, he started with an old motorbike. He turned it around to buy taxi and even build a decent house. I think that was very, very encouraging, because there are a lot of people, if you give them something to if you get any money to turn around, they will tell you different stories. So I was very impressed with that. Okay, comes to my thought. Well, I was happy tonight that our guest tonight and part of the panelists was Numene Bartekwa, Senator Numene Bartekwa from Grand Kru County. I was glad because he taught me in the 7th grade in Cleveland High. So the world is small, and we were together today talking about Liberia. Liberia, I want for all those in power to understand, and for all Liberians, and for all those in power to also understand, whenever you are in a position of power, whether a minister, senator, representative, or president, you agree to work for the Liberian people. Being in a elected position does not make you different, does not make you superhuman, does not make you the boss of the Liberian people. You are accountable to the Liberian people. So when you say vote for me, you are saying please hire me to work for you. So people have the right to ask questions. So my message to all those in power, from President Weah down, please know that Article 1 of the Liberian Constitution says, once you are in power, you are a servant of the Liberian people. They have the right to ask you questions. It should not be the other way around. It is no disrespect for somebody to ask you a question. If somebody hire you, there is an expectation. So when we vote for you, there is an expectation. So for all Liberians, I want for you to also know that all those you are voting for, they are working for you. They are not your boss. It should be the other way around. They are your servant. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ja Winkin Wia. And I would like to go to you lastly, or Reverend Addy. Give us your thought on the question for the icebreaker round, and you can close out on this session.
Also, my favorite business person is my wife. She's a CPA, and she helps a lot of Liberians with their taxes here in these United States. Her cousin happens to be the owner of the Calabash, Lester Kumar, who was doing a fantastic job in Liberia. So those are my two favorite business people. Challenge for this administration is that they are suffering from a contagious disease called bloviation. Bloviation is the long talking without answering question, and that's what the senator did today. Many of his responses were deflective, void of substance in relation to the reality on the ground. I felt his passion. He seems to have a heart for change, but unfortunately, this is the disease that affects this government. The business of the Liberian people is very serious. The welfare of their livelihood is very serious. So they have our senator come on this public platform and basically blame everybody but the government for ineptitude, incompetence, inability to deliver. It bothers me very seriously. And when you look at the rhetoric of most of those who propound or opine on issues pertaining to Liberia from the government, especially three branches of government for that matter, there's often a lot of bloviation, and they speak for as long as the time allows to demonstrate passion, but much of their commentary is far from reality. To the livelihood of the Liberian people on the ground, children not in school, the unemployment rate, but it's everybody's fault but the government. On that note, I will certainly respect him. He seemed very passionate and strong in his responses, but it was bloviation. He bloviated a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Reverend can't get on my bike. You just make my days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend. Thank you so much, Reverend Addy. And if I must add my voice to the icebreaker question, my favorite business from Liberia is not really, it's a business owner. I don't know, but it's a brand. Like, I'm talking about an artist, MC Carol, who's currently I'm not sure if she's still there, was in Australia recently. But I think she has been doing very well in putting Liberian music on the map. And speaking of which, one of her TikTok video actually got featured on Instagram official page. I think that's very big for her and for Liberian music as a whole. As far as the senator interview tonight, I think we did a great job. We asked him, we engaged him, and we made him to talk about the issues. On the my overall thoughts on the interview, I think it's good if we have our lawmakers and our public officials to avail themselves for to the press to be asked questions that are important to their constituents and to the country as a whole. I think it's good that the senators show up to answer those questions. Do I agree with most of the answer he gave? Not so much, but I just think it's a great step in the right direction that he made himself available to answer these questions. And on that note, I would like to call on the President Weah, to follow suit, to do the same as the senator, talk to the Liberian people, especially in the midst of this rice crisis. I think this is where President Weah, of all the times that Liberians have called on him to speak during national crisis, I think it's very important that he speaks at this point in time because rice, we all know, is very important to Liberians. So I think the president, first of all, need to withdraw his statement at the airport dismissing the rice crisis. I will agree with you, Mr. Crawford, that he needs to suspend the Mawani Dix, the current Minister of Commerce. And I think he needs to come out and speak to the Liberian people because this is very sad. It's very disheartening. The price of a cup of rice has increased over 100%, and those that have the money to buy it cannot find it to buy it. I think that is very disheartening, and the president must speak to the people. He must speak to his people, and they need to hear him out. This is the job he signed up for. He gets paid by the Liberian people, and they need to hear him out. He may not have a solution right now, but he needs to talk to them. So I would like to use my voice in this platform to call on the president of Liberia to talk to the Liberian people, especially in the midst of this crisis. Before I draw the curtain on this show, I would like to make a few announcements, and so bear with me. The Liberia Associations of Pennsylvania Lab will have their induction ceremony for all elected officials on October 8th, 2022 at 1 p.m. I don't know if I'm not allowed to announce the address for that, but you can find that information if you're watching this show. You can find that information on this page, on the LRTN page, and the address will be there. And also the United Tournament Grand Final, a soccer match between Liberia versus USA on the Lincoln Financial Stadium will be on October 8th as well, and it's free. Those of you that want to attend is at 6 p.m. I think you should come and support Liberia to win that tournament. And last, the Delaware County Immigrant Coalition, DCIC for short, is calling on everyone to come and join the Palaver Hut for a conversation with the candidates. And that conversation is on Thursday, October 13th, 2022, between the hours of 6 to 8 p.m. So again, all of these information for registration, you can find it on the LRTN page. The links to register for that program will be there as well. So that's it as far as announcement is concerned. And to draw the curtain on this one, Mr. Bishop Hicka, are you sure you don't take comments again? But go ahead. You're muted.
Thank you, man. Quickly, if you allow me, Mr. CEO, there's a big program on Sunday, Pastor Appreciation Sunday. The Liberian Minister Association, the Delaware Valley, in collaboration with the Minister Association of Bucks County Northeast, will be having a big Pastor Appreciation ceremony on Sunday, October the 9th at 4 p.m. at the Victory Harvest International Fellowship. If you are a pastor, you know a pastor, we are calling all everybody to come and appreciate their pastors. It's going to be an awesome time. So I just want to use this opportunity to just make this announcement to all of our pastors and those who love the great work of our pastor doing so much in our community. Come on Sunday at 4 p.m. at Victory Harvest International Church, 2536 South 59th Street in Philadelphia. God bless you.
Thank you very much, and that's it. That's it for you tonight on the Horizon. And lastly, to those, and this is serious, to those affected by this rice crisis, we are calling on the government of Liberia to act very quickly. And it is our prayer that the government will intervene very soon, and very soon you will have rice again. It has been a very good night with all of you on this panel, and I would like to draw the curtain. I would like to say a big thank you to all of you for your contribution, and I look forward to another episode next week. Until then, have a pleasant good night.